As the soft light of history stretches across the millennia, we enter the early centuries of the Assyrian civilization. Here, in the northern reaches of Mesopotamia, life begins to take on the rhythms of organization and community that will define Assyria for centuries to come. Imagine the gentle swell of the Tigris River, carrying water and life across fertile plains, feeding small clusters of mud brick homes where families rise with the sun to tend to their fields, their flocks, and the delicate tasks of daily life. The city of Assur, from which the Assyrian Empire takes its name, emerges as both a spiritual and commercial center. Its foundations are modest at first, a collection of dwellings, workshops, and a central temple devoted to the god Ashur. Ashur is more than a deity. He embodies the authority, order, and protection that guide the community. Worship in these early days is intimate, personal, and intertwined with daily routines. Families offer small sacrifices of grain or oil, and priests record these offerings on clay tablets, preserving a delicate history that we can still read today. By the mid-3rd millennium BCE, the people of Assur have begun to establish themselves as skilled artisans and traders. They craft pottery with careful attention to symmetry and decoration, weave textiles dyed with natural pigments, and shape small figurines that likely serve religious or symbolic purposes. Each object tells a story, of human creativity, of resourcefulness in a landscape of rivers and hills, and of the quiet ambition to leave a mark on the world. Trade routes wind their way through the surrounding plains and beyond. Caravans carry timber from distant mountains, lapis lazuli from faraway lands, and tin from unknown northern territories. With these materials, Assyrian craftsmen experiment, innovate, and improve upon existing techniques. The city begins to pulse with a subtle energy, a sense that its inhabitants are connected not only to the land but also to far-reaching networks of exchange. Imagine the gentle rhythm of donkeys' hooves along dusty roads, the soft murmur of merchants negotiating their goods, and the scent of dried herbs and clay mingling in the warm air. During this formative period, political structures gradually take shape. Small city-states surround Assur, each led by local rulers who govern according to customary law and the guidance of priests. These early kings, though modest in power compared to later emperors, begin to assert authority through temple construction, irrigation projects, and the collection of tribute. Governance is closely tied to the divine. Rulers claim to act under the watchful gaze of Ashur, ensuring stability and the welfare of their people. Life in these early Assyrian settlements is both structured and communal. Children learn the arts of writing, farming, and craft from an early age. Education is intimate, often occurring in the home or in temple schools, where scribes teach cuneiform, the wedge-shaped script that records everything from simple transactions to prayers for the gods. Adults rise with the sun, attending to their professions or to fields and flocks, while evenings are reserved for communal meals, quiet reflection, and ritual observances. Imagine the gentle glow of oil lamps inside mud brick homes, families seated together as they share bread and stories, while outside, the Tigris flows silently under the moonlight. The Assyrians are deeply aware of the natural world around them. They understand the cycles of the seasons, the ebb and flow of rivers, and the needs of domesticated animals. Their calendars, recorded in clay tablets, guide planting and harvest, festivals, and religious ceremonies. They observe the heavens, noting the movement of stars and planets, interpreting celestial events as omens that can influence decisions of kings and priests alike. As the centuries pass, the city of Assur slowly expands. Streets are carefully planned, markets develop along riverbanks, and temples grow larger, adorned with reliefs and inscriptions that tell stories of divine favor, human courage, and community achievement. Public spaces encourage gatherings for religious festivals, the exchange of ideas, and shared labor. The city becomes a living organism, growing in complexity while maintaining the intimate rhythms that connect each individual to their neighbors and the divine. During this time, the Assyrians also encounter neighboring cultures. The Sumerians, Akkadians, and Hurrians influence local customs, art, and administration. Through trade and occasional conflict, ideas and technologies flow into Assur, enriching its society. Assyrians learn new agricultural techniques, refine their writing system, and adopt innovations in warfare, all while preserving a distinct cultural identity. They are a people quietly building a foundation for what will become a remarkable civilization, rooted in resilience, ingenuity, and reverence for both the land and the gods. As we drift through these early centuries, it is calming to picture the gentle rhythms of Assyrian life. Imagine walking along the streets of Assur, hearing the soft chatter of merchants, the clatter of pottery, and the distant chanting of priests. The city pulses with quiet energy, a testament to human dedication and adaptability. It is a world both distant and intimate, filled with small achievements, subtle interactions, and enduring dreams. In these formative years, the Assyrians developed the foundations that will support an empire. Their mastery of irrigation, trade, and governance, coupled with a deeply spiritual connection to Ashur, shapes a society capable of growth, adaptation, and enduring legacy. As we gently transition from this early chapter, allow your mind to linger on the quiet streets, the flowing river, and the soft hum of life in Assur. Drift with the river, carrying the echoes of daily routines, whispered prayers, and the first murmurs of a civilization destined for remarkable heights. As we drift further along the currents of history, we leave the gentle beginnings of Assur and move into a time when the early Assyrian city-states begin to grow in organization, influence, and ambition. These centuries mark the rise of structured kingdoms, the expansion of trade networks, and the beginnings of military organization that will define Assyria in centuries to come. Let us imagine the landscape: broad plains interspersed with rolling hills, the Tigris flowing steadily, carrying water, silt, and the faint scent of reeds to the villages and towns scattered along its banks. The city of Assur, modest in its early days, begins to assert its prominence over neighboring settlements. Its leaders, guided by the belief that Ashur, the city's divine patron, blesses their rule, undertake public works to strengthen both infrastructure and authority. They dig irrigation channels, carefully maintaining the delicate balance of water between farms and riverbanks. They repair and expand temples, constructing mud brick ziggurats that reach skyward, their terraces echoing with soft chants of priests and acolytes. These constructions are not merely functional, they are statements of civic pride, devotion, and connection to the divine, reminders that human effort can harmonize with natural and spiritual order. Trade flourishes in this period. Caravans traverse long distances, bringing copper from Anatolia, precious stones from distant lands, and timber from nearby mountains. Assyrian merchants develop an intricate system of trade routes, using boats along the Tigris and overland tracks to exchange goods with neighbors in the north, south, and east. These routes become arteries of culture as well as commerce, introducing artistic motifs, culinary techniques, and new technologies. Imagine the subtle excitement of markets, the soft clink of metal, the scent of spices, the gentle conversation of traders negotiating their wares, and the laughter of children weaving among the stalls. In these early kingdoms, governance becomes more formalized. Kings, though not yet the grand conquerors of later centuries, begin to assert authority beyond their city walls. They maintain records on clay tablets, documenting laws, contracts, and offerings to the gods. These tablets, carefully inscribed with cuneiform characters, allow us to glimpse the thoughts, intentions, and daily decisions of people long ago. Governance is closely intertwined with religion. Kings are seen as mediators between the gods and their people, charged with maintaining cosmic and civic balance. Military organization begins to take shape during this era. Though the early Assyrians do not yet command vast armies, they develop strategies for defense and occasional skirmishes with neighboring cities. They train small contingents of soldiers, equipping them with simple weapons made from bronze and iron, learning the delicate balance between offensive action and protective duty. In quiet moments, one might imagine soldiers maintaining their gear, practicing formations along the riverbanks, and listening to the gentle rush of the Tigris as the sun warms the plains. Daily life for the average Assyrian is a blend of work, family, and devotion. Farmers rise with the dawn to tend fields of barley, wheat, and legumes, while shepherds guide flocks along grassy pastures. Artisans craft pottery, weave textiles, and carve wood and stone with meticulous care. Women manage households, bake bread in clay ovens and pass on traditions to their children. Education, though informal, is ongoing, particularly for scribes who learn cuneiform and record-keeping within temple schools. Life follows natural and ritual rhythms, planting with the rains, harvesting with the sun, offering prayers at dawn and dusk, and gathering as a community for festivals and markets. Religious life deepens during this period, emphasizing the centrality of Ashur and the pantheon of associated deities. Temples become spaces for both worship and civic administration. Priests mediate disputes, advise rulers, and oversee rituals that align the city with the favor of the gods. Festivals punctuate the year, marked by offerings, processions, and quiet reflection. Visualize these moments: the soft glow of oil lamps illuminating the temples at dusk, the gentle toll of bells, and the aroma of incense carried by a light evening breeze. These rituals embed a sense of order, continuity, and purpose within the growing society. As the Assyrian kingdoms expand, they engage in diplomacy with neighboring regions. Treaties, trade agreements, and alliances create a network of interconnected states. Cultural exchange is subtle but profound. Artistic styles influence neighboring communities, and administrative practices are shared along trade routes. Assyria is gradually becoming more than a collection of towns. It is forming the foundation of a centralized civilization with a distinct identity and an enduring sense of ambition. The geography of the region shapes not only trade and agriculture but also cultural imagination. Rolling plains and fertile river valleys provide sustenance, while nearby hills and mountains offer timber, stone, and minerals. Rivers are both pathways and boundaries, guiding the movements of people and goods while offering a natural rhythm to life. During quiet evenings, one can imagine the Tigris reflecting the setting sun, birds settling along its banks, and villagers walking home, carrying baskets of grain and fruit, ready to rest after a day of work and contemplation. By the end of this period, the Assyrians are no longer simply a small community of riverine villages. They are a people developing structure, ambition, and the beginnings of an identity that will carry them into empire. Their cities grow more sophisticated, their trade more extensive, and their governance more organized. Education, religion, and daily life continue in a delicate balance, creating a society capable of adapting, growing, and eventually expanding far beyond its riverbanks. As we settle into the calm of these centuries, picture the quiet streets, the gentle murmur of markets, the soft chants of temple priests, and the steady flow of the Tigris carrying life and memory along its path. The rise of the early Assyrian kingdoms is a testament to human perseverance, creativity, and the quiet ambition that shapes civilizations. Allow your thoughts to drift gently among the temples, homes, and fields of these early societies, carrying with them the echoes of daily life, whispered prayers, and the first stirrings of an empire in the making. As we continue our journey along the quiet currents of history, we enter a transformative period when the Assyrians begin to consolidate their cities and extend influence across the northern Mesopotamian plains. The early kingdoms have grown into a recognizable civilization, and the foundations of the Assyrian Empire, as it will be known in later centuries, are gradually being laid. Imagine the sun rising over the Tigris, its warm light glimmering on clay rooftops, illuminating the soft chatter of villagers, the distant clatter of markets, and the occasional chant of priests at the temple of Ashur. By this stage, Assur has become a vibrant city-state with an organized administrative system. Kings, sometimes modest in ambition and sometimes bold in vision, oversee not only the spiritual welfare of their people but also the practical concerns of governance. Records on clay tablets, meticulously inscribed in cuneiform, document offerings to the gods, trade transactions, and legal decisions. These tablets serve as both functional records and enduring traces of human thought, preserving the quiet diligence of scribes who spend long hours seated before wet clay, their reed stylus moving with careful precision. The early Assyrian kings begin to recognize the importance of unity among city-states. Smaller towns and villages around Assur are gradually brought under the control of the central authority. This period is not marked solely by conquest. Diplomacy, alliances, and marriage arrangements often secure the cooperation of neighboring regions. In subtle ways, the Assyrian identity begins to crystallize. Shared language, shared religious practices centered on Ashur, and shared approaches to trade, agriculture, and urban planning. Trade continues to flourish, weaving northern Mesopotamia into a tapestry of cultural and economic exchange. Caravans move with predictable rhythm, laden with copper, tin, textiles, grain, and pottery. Riverboats glide silently along the Tigris, carrying merchants and their goods to distant towns. Markets buzz with life as people barter, exchange news, and share knowledge. Imagine walking along these streets in the early morning, the soft crunch of mud and straw underfoot, the gentle scent of fresh bread and drying herbs, and the low murmur of conversation flowing like the river itself. Agriculture remains central to Assyrian life, and innovations in irrigation and land management allow communities to support larger populations. Fields of barley and wheat stretch along the riverbanks, while orchards of dates and figs offer both sustenance and trade goods. Farmers carefully manage water channels, guiding the river's gift to nourish their crops. In quieter moments, one can imagine families resting in the shade of date palms, children playing with clay toys, and the gentle hum of bees in nearby gardens. The early Assyrians also developed more sophisticated military organization during this era. While their armies are still small compared to later imperial forces, soldiers are trained to defend the city and secure trade routes. Bronze and early iron weapons are carefully maintained, and simple fortifications are built around key settlements. Military preparedness is intertwined with religious belief. Victories and safe journeys are attributed to Ashur's favor, reminding the people that divine guidance accompanies practical strategy. Religion deepens in complexity. Temples expand, ziggurats rise taller, and ritual practices become more intricate. Priests maintain both spiritual and administrative roles, guiding communities in ethical conduct, conflict resolution, and ceremonies marking the passage of seasons. Festivals punctuate the year, celebrating the fertility of the land, the rising and setting of the sun, and the favor of Ashur. Imagine the soft illumination of oil lamps in the temple halls at dusk, the faint scent of incense curling through the air, and the gentle cadence of chanting voices reverberating over mud brick walls. These spiritual rhythms provide a sense of stability and continuity in the lives of ordinary Assyrians. As the Assyrian identity solidifies, art and craftsmanship flourish. Reliefs depicting gods, kings, and scenes of daily life begin to appear on temple walls and palace facades. Pottery is decorated with intricate patterns, textiles dyed with vibrant natural colors, and sculptures carved from soft stone reflect both devotion and aesthetic sensibility. Each creation tells a story of human creativity, reverence for the divine, and the desire to leave a lasting mark. Imagine walking slowly through a workshop, the gentle scrape of a chisel on stone, the soft rustle of woven fabric, and the quiet focus of artisans shaping objects with care and intention. This period also sees growing awareness of the broader world. Assyrian merchants and envoys travel farther afield, encountering neighboring cultures such as the Babylonians to the south and the Hurrians and Hittites to the north. Through these interactions, Assyria absorbs knowledge of administration, warfare, architecture, and art, blending external influences with local traditions. The result is a society increasingly capable of coordination, adaptation, and expansion, a civilization on the threshold of empire. Daily life continues to unfold in quiet, structured rhythms. Families rise with the sun, tending fields or guiding flocks. Children learn crafts, reading and writing, while elders pass down knowledge of rituals, agriculture, and trade. Evenings are gentle, shared meals, whispered prayers, and reflection under the fading light of the Tigris. Imagine the city settling into quietude, the river reflecting the stars, and the soft calls of birds carrying across the plains as night embraces the land. As the Assyrian kingdoms consolidate, the seeds of future greatness are planted. The combination of organized administration, religious devotion, economic innovation, and cultural exchange creates a society capable of remarkable achievement. Each tablet inscribed, each canal dug, each temple raised contributes quietly to the foundation of a powerful and enduring civilization. In these centuries, the Assyrians are learning to weave together ambition, faith, and practicality. They are discovering how to govern, trade, and protect their communities while maintaining continuity with the past and respect for the land. Imagine drifting among these early cities at dusk, hearing the soft rustle of palms, the distant hum of trade along the river, and the faint glow of temple fires. The Assyrian world is quietly expanding, preparing to rise beyond the northern plains and into history itself. Let your mind settle with these images: the flowing river, the gentle streets of Assur, the temple terraces bathed in evening light. The Assyrian Empire is still in its infancy, yet already its foundations are strong, and its people, guided by devotion, ingenuity, and quiet ambition, are shaping a civilization that will resonate through the ages. As we drift further into the quiet currents of time, we reach the period when Assyria begins to transform from a collection of city-states into a more cohesive and ambitious kingdom. This is a time of expansion, both in territory and influence, guided by kings whose vision and authority begin to define the character of the Assyrian Empire. Picture the northern Mesopotamian plains stretching endlessly, with the Tigris winding gently through fertile fields, villages, and early towns, the landscape alive with the subtle rhythms of daily life. The rise of the first great kings marks a shift in Assyrian society. These rulers, often seen as chosen by Ashur, the city's patron deity, combine military skill, administrative organization, and religious authority. They consolidate surrounding towns under central control, ensuring loyalty through a combination of diplomacy, alliances, and, when necessary, force. Imagine these rulers standing atop the terraces of temples or palaces, overlooking the city as the sun casts long shadows over mud-brick streets and fertile fields, contemplating both the responsibilities and opportunities of leadership. Trade and commerce flourish under these early kings. Caravans travel over long distances, bringing precious metals, timber, textiles, and rare stones from distant regions. Riverboats glide silently along the Tigris, loaded with goods destined for marketplaces where merchants exchange wares and ideas. Markets hum with life, the soft clatter of clay pots, the low murmur of conversation, the gentle scent of herbs, bread, and incense filling the air. Each day, Assyrian citizens participate in a rhythm of exchange, craft, and labor that sustains both the economy and the social fabric. Agriculture remains central to the prosperity of the kingdom. The Assyrians expand and maintain sophisticated irrigation systems, guiding the Tigris waters to fields of barley, wheat, and legumes. Orchards of dates, figs, and pomegranates provide both sustenance and trade goods, while vineyards yield wine for domestic use and ceremonial offerings. Imagine families tending their plots, children playing along irrigation channels, and the gentle buzz of bees among flowering crops, all framed by the distant, steady flow of the river. During this period, military organization reaches new levels of sophistication. Early Assyrian armies, though smaller than later imperial forces, are disciplined and strategically deployed. Soldiers train in formations, maintain bronze and early iron weapons, and fortify key settlements. Campaigns are undertaken with careful planning, often in coordination with intelligence gathered from trade networks or scouts. Military activity, while essential, is balanced by periods of rest, reconstruction, and quiet reflection along riverbanks and roadsides, creating a rhythm that blends vigilance with continuity. Religion and cultural life continue to deepen. Temples grow taller, adorned with reliefs depicting kings, gods, and everyday life. Priests maintain spiritual and administrative duties, guiding communities in ritual, dispute resolution, and education. Festivals punctuate the year, offering moments of collective celebration and reflection. Visualize the gentle glow of oil lamps in temple halls at twilight, the faint scent of burning incense curling through the air, and the soft cadence of chanting voices resonating against mud-brick walls, a soothing reminder of continuity and order. Artistic expression flourishes under these early kings. Reliefs and sculptures depict the divine and mortal worlds intertwined, kings receiving blessings from Ashur, soldiers marching in formation, and scenes of trade, farming, and craft. Pottery and textiles show increasing sophistication, adorned with patterns and motifs that blend local traditions with influences from neighboring cultures. Each creation, carefully molded, woven, or carved, speaks to the quiet dedication and imagination of artisans, leaving a lasting impression of human ingenuity. Expansion beyond Assur begins to define this era. Towns and villages farther afield are gradually incorporated into a broader network of governance. Roads, canals, and way stations facilitate movement of goods, soldiers, and information. The Assyrians developed systems for tribute, taxation, and legal oversight, creating a cohesive structure that strengthens the kingdom without disrupting the natural rhythms of daily life. Imagine traveling along these roads at dusk, the soft echo of footsteps, the distant murmur of travelers, and the steady flow of the Tigris guiding the journey. Interactions with neighboring cultures deepen during this period. Assyrian envoys, traders, and occasional military expeditions encounter Babylonians to the south, Hurrians and Hittites to the north, and smaller tribal groups in surrounding hills. These interactions bring new technologies, artistic influences, and administrative practices, subtly enriching Assyrian society. The kingdom is learning to absorb external ideas while maintaining its distinct identity, a balance that will allow it to flourish in the centuries to come. Daily life for ordinary Assyrians remains structured yet vibrant. Families rise with the sun to tend fields, care for livestock, or craft goods in workshops. Children learn the arts of writing, mathematics, and trade, often in temple schools where scribes patiently guide their hands across clay tablets. Evenings are filled with quiet reflection, communal meals, and ritual observances. Imagine the soft glow of lamp light in homes, the gentle murmur of conversation, and the distant, soothing sound of water moving along irrigation channels, creating an intimate sense of continuity and calm. The reigns of these early kings set patterns for the empire's future. Leadership combines spiritual guidance, practical administration, and measured expansion. Trade, agriculture, and craft flourish alongside religious devotion. Military organization, diplomacy, and cultural exchange establish a society capable of resilience and growth. These developments quietly prepare the Assyrians for the sweeping conquests and grand projects of later centuries. As we allow our thoughts to drift across these centuries, picture the city of Assur and its surrounding towns at dusk. The soft flow of the Tigris mirrors the rhythms of daily life. Farmers returning home, merchants closing their stalls, priests completing evening rites, and children playing in the fading light. The kingdom expands steadily, guided by kings whose vision, prudence, and devotion shape both land and people. This period of expansion and the rise of the first great kings is a testament to the Assyrians' ability to harmonize ambition with continuity, innovation with tradition. Imagine yourself walking quietly along temple terraces, feeling the warm sun on your skin, hearing the gentle murmur of the city below, and letting your mind rest on the enduring patterns of human endeavor. The foundations of empire are being laid, not with sudden violence, but with patience, organization, and reverent attention to the natural and spiritual world. Let your thoughts linger on this image: the Tigris flowing steadily, the streets of Assur alive with quiet activity, the temples and palaces reflecting soft light, and the people of the kingdom moving through their days in harmony with the land and the divine. Here, in these centuries of early expansion, the Assyrian Empire begins to take shape, carrying within it the promise of centuries of achievement, influence, and enduring legacy. As we drift further into the soft currents of time, we arrive at the period when the Assyrian Empire reaches the height of its power, an era marked by formidable kings, expansive territories, and remarkable cultural achievements. Imagine a landscape that stretches from the northern mountains down to the wide plains along the Tigris and Euphrates, rivers glimmering under the sun, cities bustling quietly, and distant caravans tracing the faint lines of ancient trade routes. By this era, Assyria is no longer a collection of city-states. It is a centralized empire with a strong, organized administration, capable of managing vast lands and diverse peoples. Kings such as Tiglath-Pileser III, Sargon II, and Sennacherib exercise authority with remarkable efficiency, overseeing governance, military campaigns, and religious life. Each king, while maintaining the central role of Ashur and state ideology, demonstrates strategic acumen, organizing armies, extending infrastructure and consolidating territories. Imagine these rulers in their palaces, seated upon mud brick terraces reviewing clay tablets that record tribute, laws and campaigns, while the distant murmur of markets and workshops reaches their ears. The Assyrian military is a defining feature of this period. Armies are organized into infantry, chariot units and cavalry, trained for both defense and conquest. Bronze and iron weapons are carefully maintained, and soldiers follow disciplined formations, guided by both strategy and experience. Military campaigns expand the empire's borders, bringing new regions under Assyrian influence while securing trade routes that provide essential resources. Yet, in quiet moments along riverbanks and roadsides, soldiers rest, repair their equipment, and maintain a steady rhythm that balances vigilance with humanity. Trade and economic activity flourish across the empire. Caravans carry goods, timber, tin, textiles, metals, and luxury items, linking distant provinces to the imperial center. Riverboats glide silently along the Tigris and Euphrates, laden with grain, pottery, and other commodities, while merchants exchange not only goods but also knowledge, stories, and cultural practices. Imagine strolling through a bustling market in Nineveh, the scent of herbs, baked bread, and incense mingling in the air, the soft murmur of conversation, and the gentle clatter of pottery, weaving a quiet rhythm of commerce that sustains the empire. Urban life in the empire's major cities is sophisticated and carefully organized. Palaces and temples rise in tiers, adorned with stone reliefs depicting kings, gods, and scenes of daily life. Streets are arranged thoughtfully, marketplaces occupy central areas, and water channels bring irrigation and domestic supply to households. Families tend to their fields or workshops, while children learn reading, writing, and mathematics in temple schools. Evenings are filled with quiet reflection, shared meals, and ritual observances, while the soft light of oil lamps casts gentle shadows across clay and stone walls. Religion remains central to the empire, both spiritually and politically. Ashur, the chief deity, symbolizes divine sanction for kingship and the empire's expansion. Temples serve as centers of worship, administration, and learning, their halls echoing with chants, soft prayers, and the subtle clink of offerings. Festivals continue to mark the passage of seasons, celebrating agricultural fertility, military victories, and the harmonious relationship between humans and the divine. Imagine the serene cadence of ceremonies, incense curling lazily through the air, and the gentle glow of lamps illuminating carvings and inscriptions, a testament to devotion and continuity. Art and architecture flourish during this period, reflecting both grandeur and detail. Reliefs carved into palace walls depict kings in ceremonial garb, soldiers in formation, and scenes of conquest and tribute. Sculptors create winged bulls, lions, and other mythological creatures, embodying protection, strength, and divine presence. Pottery, textiles, and jewelry show intricate designs and vibrant colors, combining traditional Assyrian motifs with influences from conquered lands. Imagine walking slowly through a palace, feeling the smooth stone under your fingers, observing the subtle textures of reliefs, and listening to the faint echo of footsteps in vast halls, absorbing the quiet majesty of human creativity. Infrastructure projects connect the empire. Roads, canals, and bridges facilitate trade, communication, and troop movements. Cities are linked not only physically but also administratively, with governors overseeing provinces, reporting to the king, and maintaining the flow of resources. This network strengthens the empire's stability, ensuring that goods, messages, and ideas circulate efficiently. Imagine floating gently down the Tigris in a small boat, observing towns, watchtowers, and fields passing quietly by, feeling the soft rhythm of water beneath, and sensing the quiet order of a vast, interconnected civilization. Daily life continues its measured pace, harmonizing with the broader structures of empire. Farmers and herders work alongside artisans and traders, maintaining the empire's sustenance and culture. Children learn skills suited to their future roles, guided by teachers and scribes, while elders impart traditions, stories, and ethical principles. Evenings are moments of quiet reflection, where families gather under soft lamp light, the distant river whispering, and the muted activity of the city offering a sense of continuity and calm. Despite the empire's power and reach, the Assyrians maintain a delicate balance between ambition and human scale. Conquests extend boundaries, yet the rhythms of daily life, markets, temples, fields, and workshops, persist. Administration, religion, and culture form a steady framework that sustains both governance and society. Each clay tablet, relief, and architectural element is a quiet testament to organization, thought, and care, reflecting an empire that is both formidable and intimately human. As the Assyrian Empire reaches its peak, its achievements extend far beyond military might. Culture, art, governance, and religion interweave to create a civilization of enduring influence. Roads, canals, and cities facilitate life, trade, and communication. Temples and palaces embody devotion and artistry. Markets and workshops pulse with the rhythm of ordinary life. Imagine wandering through this world at twilight, the soft glow of lamps illuminating streets and terraces, the faint sound of rivers and markets, and the gentle breeze carrying the scent of spices and incense. This period of height is a culmination of centuries of quiet effort, organization, and innovation. The empire's expansion, administration, and cultural richness demonstrate the Assyrians' ability to harmonize ambition, daily life, and spiritual devotion. Let your mind settle on the vision of this vast, interconnected civilization: the flowing Tigris and Euphrates, bustling yet calm cities, towering temples, and the enduring presence of Ashur watching over the land. Drift gently through the streets of Nineveh or Kalhu, the marketplaces soft with conversation, the palaces whispering stories of kings and priests, the river moving silently past walls and terraces. In this quiet reflection, the empire feels alive yet peaceful, a civilization shaped by both human hands and the rhythms of the natural world. The Assyrians at their height demonstrate not only power but also order, devotion, and the remarkable capacity of organized human society to endure and inspire. As we drift through the centuries, we arrive at the quieter, more contemplative chapter of the Assyrian Empire's story, the period of decline and eventual legacy. Though once a formidable force stretching across Mesopotamia and beyond, the empire faced internal pressures, external threats, and the inevitable challenges of maintaining such vast territories. Imagine the plains, rivers, and hills of northern Mesopotamia bathed in a soft, late-afternoon light, the Tigris flowing steadily, carrying both memories and whispers of centuries past. By the late 7th century BCE, internal instability begins to surface. Royal succession becomes contested, with rival claimants to the throne and court intrigue creating periods of uncertainty. Administrative structures, though previously robust, strain under the weight of the empire's vastness. Governors in distant provinces occasionally act independently, communication falters, and maintaining consistent control over far-flung territories becomes increasingly difficult. Imagine scribes in distant towns laboring over clay tablets, noting edicts from kings who may be far away, each mark a quiet attempt to preserve order amidst uncertainty. External pressures also mount. Neighboring powers, once subdued or allied, begin to assert themselves. The Medes, Babylonians, and other regional entities consolidate strength and form alliances to challenge Assyria's supremacy. Military campaigns, once highly organized and largely successful, now face greater resistance. Armies march along familiar roads, rivers, and plains, yet encounter fortified cities, ambushes, and a population increasingly wary of distant rule. Imagine the quiet tension of soldiers preparing along the Tigris, checking their bronze and iron weapons, listening to the faint murmur of the river as they contemplate both strategy and survival. Despite these challenges, Assyrian culture continues to thrive in quieter ways. Temples remain centers of worship and learning, scribes continue to preserve history, and artisans craft pottery, reliefs, and textiles. Even in times of political uncertainty, the rhythms of daily life persist. Families tend to fields and livestock, children learn crafts and writing, and communities observe festivals marking the cycles of the seasons. Imagine a temple at dusk, oil lamps flickering softly, incense curling upward, and priests quietly guiding devotees, preserving both tradition and hope. The final years of the empire are marked by dramatic yet measured events. Cities once flourishing under imperial stability experience sieges, destruction, or abandonment. Kings like Ashurbanipal, though celebrated for their accomplishments, witnessed the limits of human power against the tides of history. The Assyrian administrative system, once highly effective, falters under strain, and the network of roads, canals, and provinces begins to fragment. Picture a palace once filled with bustling activity now quiet, its stone reliefs illuminated only by the soft glow of a setting sun, shadows stretching along walls that have witnessed centuries of human endeavor. Yet even in decline the Assyrian legacy endures. Knowledge preserved in clay tablets, administrative practices, and architectural innovations influenced successive civilizations. The Babylonians, Persians, and later empires draw upon Assyrian models of governance, military organization, and urban planning. Art and architecture, particularly reliefs depicting human, divine, and animal figures, leave an indelible mark on the artistic imagination of the ancient Near East. Imagine walking through a museum today, tracing your fingers along cuneiform inscriptions, admiring winged bulls carved in stone, and sensing the quiet continuity of human creativity across millennia. The Assyrians' impact is also felt in language and culture. Their use of Akkadian and cuneiform writing preserves legal codes, correspondence, literature, and scientific observations, enabling historians and archaeologists to reconstruct daily life, governance, and thought. Festivals, religious practices, and artistic motifs continue to resonate, demonstrating the resilience of cultural memory even after political structures have collapsed. Picture children learning the shapes of cuneiform symbols on clay, families observing traditional rituals, and communities maintaining practices that echo those of centuries past, a testament to enduring human continuity. In reflecting on the decline of the empire, it is comforting to consider the rhythms that persisted despite upheaval. Life by the Tigris continues. Farmers tending fields, artisans shaping clay, scribes pressing styluses into wet tablets. The natural world flows on unchanged, the river glides, date palms sway, and the sun rises and sets with quiet constancy. In these rhythms, one senses a profound lesson. Human endeavors, no matter how grand, are intertwined with the persistent and calming cycles of nature. The Assyrian Empire's story concludes not with abrupt finality, but with gentle transition. Its cities, armies, and kings fade into history, yet the cultural, artistic, and intellectual achievements remain. By observing the empire's rise, expansion, peak, and eventual decline, we see patterns that resonate beyond any single civilization. Innovation, organization, devotion, adaptation, and the subtle interplay between ambition and the rhythms of daily life. Imagine standing on the banks of the Tigris, feeling the quiet flow of water beneath your feet, hearing the soft rustle of reeds, and sensing the echoes of centuries, each whisper carrying stories of human effort, creativity, and resilience. Even today the Assyrians' influence is felt. Archaeological sites, ancient texts, and artistic motifs offer a bridge to the past, connecting modern observers with people who lived, worked, prayed, and dreamed along the same riverbanks. Museums, schools, and scholars preserve and interpret these treasures, allowing the empire's memory to inform contemporary understanding. Imagine walking through ruins at twilight, the wind softly caressing stone walls, and envisioning the people who once walked these streets, their lives interwoven with the ebb and flow of rivers, seasons, and time itself. As we gently conclude this historical journey, allow your mind to rest on the quiet majesty of the Assyrian Empire. Picture the cities, rivers, and plains bathed in soft evening light, the streets echoing faintly with footsteps of the past, and temples illuminated by flickering lamps. The empire's story, though complete, leaves a lasting resonance, a testament to human ingenuity, devotion, and the enduring connection between people, land, and culture. Let your thoughts drift like the Tigris, flowing gently from the past into the present, carrying stories of kings, artisans, scribes, and ordinary citizens alike. The Assyrian Empire, though long vanished as a political entity, endures in memory, art, language, and cultural influence. In this quiet reflection, one can find both knowledge and calm, a bridge between history and the serene stillness of night. Rest here for a moment. Feel the soft rhythm of the river, the gentle sway of date palms, and the muted hum of life carried across centuries. The story of the Assyrian Empire, from its early beginnings to its towering heights and reflective decline, is now complete, offering a gentle journey through time that can ease the mind, enrich understanding, and lull the spirit toward restful contemplation. As we drift gently from the echoes of the Assyrian Empire's decline, we enter a reflective chapter on its enduring legacy. Though the political structures of the empire fell long ago, the influence of Assyria continues to ripple through history, whispering its stories through art, architecture, literature, and the very fabric of human understanding. Picture the Tigris and Euphrates flowing quietly, carrying with them the memories of bustling cities, grand temples, and the lives of countless individuals who once walked along their banks. Even after the empire's fall, the achievements of Assyria left an indelible mark on successive civilizations. The Babylonians, Persians, and later empires drew upon Assyrian administrative practices, military organization, and urban planning. Roads and canals initially built to connect distant provinces continued to serve as vital arteries of trade and communication. Imagine traveling along these ancient routes, the soft crunch of earth beneath your feet, the gentle rustle of reeds along riverbanks, and the quiet continuity of paths first laid thousands of years ago. Assyrian art remains a lasting testament to human creativity and devotion. Stone reliefs depicting winged bulls, lions, and kings in ceremonial garb, once adorning palaces and temples, now reside in museums around the world. These works convey not only power but also careful observation of the natural world and an understanding of symbolism. Imagine tracing your fingers along the smooth carvings, feeling the subtle textures and imagining the artisans at work, chiseling with patience and precision. Through these objects, the voices of ancient Assyrians speak softly across time. Writing and record-keeping were central to Assyrian society, and their use of cuneiform ensures that fragments of daily life, religious practice, and governance survive to this day. Clay tablets reveal laws, trade agreements, royal decrees, and personal letters, offering a window into the past. Imagine a quiet scribe dipping a stylus into wet clay, carefully pressing each wedge-shaped mark, preserving thoughts and intentions for millennia. These tablets remind us that human curiosity and organization leave traces beyond the lifespan of any individual or king. Assyrian influence extended far beyond administration and art. Military strategies and fortification techniques, developed and refined over centuries, informed neighboring civilizations. Cities fortified with walls, gates, and defensive structures took inspiration from Assyrian models. Armies trained in discipline, formation, and strategic planning found echoes in subsequent empires, demonstrating the empire's practical and intellectual contributions to human history. Picture the soft rhythm of marching troops along ancient roads, their footsteps echoing the disciplined routines first established centuries before. Religion and ritual, too, left lasting imprints. The worship of Ashur, with its emphasis on divine authority supporting civic structure, influenced neighboring cultures. Temple architecture, ceremonial practices, and symbolic motifs traveled across regions, blending with local traditions to create a cultural tapestry that preserved elements of Assyrian thought. Imagine the quiet hum of temple halls, incense curling gently into the air, soft chanting reverberating off walls, a serene continuity of spiritual practice that transcends time. Even daily life in the empire shaped patterns that persisted in surrounding regions. Agricultural practices, irrigation methods, and urban organization offered models of sustainability and community cohesion. Markets, workshops, and craft traditions influenced artisans and traders far beyond Mesopotamia. Imagine the subtle connections across space and time. A potter in a distant city using techniques first refined along the Tigris, or a farmer managing irrigation channels inspired by Assyrian planning. These quiet threads of influence ripple gently through history. The legacy of Assyria is also reflected in modern scholarship and archaeology. Excavations of ancient cities like Nineveh and Kalhu reveal layers of human endeavor. Palaces, temples, libraries, and streets frozen in time, offering insights into governance, daily life and cultural practice. Archaeologists carefully brush dust from clay tablets, noting inscriptions, while historians translate text to reconstruct the empire's story. Imagine the quiet patience of these scholars, preserving fragments of human history so that today's observers can wander mentally through ancient streets, hearing the faint echoes of voices and footsteps long gone. Language, too, carries whispers of Assyrian influence. Akkadian, the lingua franca of the empire, survives in inscriptions and texts, providing a bridge to ancient thought and expression. Through translation, we encounter stories, poetry, administrative records, and scholarly treatises that reveal both the complexity of Assyrian society and the universality of human experience. Imagine sitting quietly, reading a letter inscribed thousands of years ago, feeling a connection across the centuries, and appreciating the quiet persistence of human ideas. The Assyrian Empire also serves as a lesson in resilience, adaptation, and the impermanence of political power. Cities may rise and fall, kings may rule and fade into memory, but culture, knowledge, and human creativity endure. Observing this pattern offers a gentle reflection. While individual achievements are temporary, the contributions of communities, ideas, and traditions can ripple across time, leaving traces that inspire future generations. Imagine standing along the banks of the Tigris, feeling the river's steady flow, contemplating the layers of human effort and imagination that have accumulated along its course. Modern cultural memory continues to honor the Assyrians. Descendants of the ancient people maintain traditions, language, and religious practices, bridging thousands of years with continuity and care. Museums, educational institutions, and scholars preserve artifacts and texts, offering a gentle bridge between ancient civilizations and contemporary understanding. Imagine the soft glow of display cases, inscriptions illuminated carefully, objects resting silently yet speaking loudly to those who pause and listen. Through these quiet moments, the legacy of Assyria continues to live. Art, literature, and media today often draw inspiration from Assyrian achievements. Stories of kings, warriors, and cities inspire imagination and creativity, while historical scholarship provides accurate understanding and interpretation. The empire's history serves as both education and reflection, reminding us of the enduring power of human ingenuity and organization. Imagine listening to a historian's calm narration or walking through a museum, tracing the reliefs of ancient kings, and feeling the soft continuity of human creativity across millennia. Even in sleep, the lessons of Assyria can be gentle companions. The importance of structure and rhythm, the value of careful observation, and the quiet influence of knowledge preserved across generations. Picture yourself drifting along the riverbanks, temples glowing softly in the twilight, markets silent, and the distant murmur of water guiding your thoughts toward calm reflection. The Assyrian Empire, though distant in time, offers enduring wisdom about resilience, creativity, and human potential. As we conclude this reflective chapter, allow your mind to rest on the enduring patterns left by Assyria. Flowing rivers, fertile plains, bustling yet quiet cities, and temples glowing with soft lamp light. Let the legacy of this ancient civilization drift gently through your imagination, carrying stories of kings, artisans, scribes, soldiers, and ordinary citizens. Each whisper of history is an invitation to learn, reflect, and rest in the calm knowledge that human effort, creativity, and devotion leave traces that outlast empires. Drift gently now, letting the quiet cadence of history and the soft imagery of Assyria carry you toward peaceful rest. The story of this remarkable civilization, from its early beginnings to its apex and reflective legacy, forms a bridge between knowledge and calm, history and meditation. Let your thoughts flow like the Tigris, steady and serene, carrying the memories of the past into the quiet of the present moment. As we gently drift into the final chapter of our journey through the Assyrian Empire, we enter a space of quiet reflection, where history, culture, and imagination blend into serene contemplation. Picture the Tigris and Euphrates flowing side by side, their waters glimmering in the soft glow of dawn, carrying centuries of memory and whispering stories that stretch from the earliest settlements to the heights of empire and beyond. In this quiet moment, we can pause to absorb the enduring rhythm of Assyria's legacy. The story of Assyria is not only one of kings, armies, and cities, it is a story of human effort, creativity, and continuity. From the earliest mud-brick dwellings in Assur to the towering palaces of Nineveh, the Assyrians shaped their world with careful attention to daily life, spirituality, and the natural environment. Imagine walking along narrow streets lined with workshops, the faint scent of baked bread, pottery, and oil lamps blending gently in the warm air. The river flows steadily nearby, guiding not only irrigation and trade but also the quiet rhythms of human life. Reflecting on the empire's rise, we see how small beginnings can grow into profound achievements. Early city-states gradually unified, guided by rulers who understood the delicate balance between ambition and stability. Trade, agriculture, religion, and administration intertwined to create a society capable of growth and resilience. Picture children learning the shapes of cuneiform on soft clay, artisans shaping vessels with gentle hands, and farmers tending to golden fields, all harmonizing with the steady pulse of the land. As Assyria reached its height, kings like Sennacherib and Ashurbanipal expanded its borders, organized vast armies, and built remarkable cities. Yet the empire's enduring power was not only military, it was also cultural, spiritual, and intellectual. Temples, libraries, and palaces reflected devotion, learning, and artistic expression. Reliefs of winged bulls, lions, and kings captured movement, authority, and the imagination of artisans who carefully observed both humans and nature. Imagine walking slowly through these grand spaces, the soft echo of footsteps, the gentle glow of lamplight reflecting on carved stone, and the quiet majesty of centuries preserved in art. Daily life continued its quiet rhythm even amidst imperial grandeur. Farmers rose with the sun, shepherds guided flocks, artisans worked with steady hands, and scribes recorded events in clay. Evenings were moments of reflection. Families shared meals, communities observed rituals, and the soft light of lamps or fires illuminated domestic spaces. Imagine the soothing cadence of these routines, the low hum of conversation, the rustle of textiles, and the gentle movement of water in canals, creating a harmony that underpinned both daily life and imperial administration. The eventual decline of Assyria offers gentle lessons in impermanence and continuity. Political power, like rivers or seasons, flows and changes. Internal strife and external pressures gradually diminished the empire's reach, yet cultural and intellectual achievements persisted. Temples, inscriptions, and art outlasted armies and kings, preserving memory and knowledge. Picture ancient scribes patiently inscribing clay, artisans carving reliefs, and priests quietly guiding rituals, their work resonating across centuries to inform, inspire, and comfort those who come later. Assyria's legacy extends beyond historical records into modern consciousness. Archaeologists uncover palaces, temples, and streets, revealing the organization, ingenuity, and artistry of this civilization. Museums and scholars preserve inscriptions, reliefs, and artifacts, bridging millennia to connect contemporary observers with the daily lives, thoughts, and creativity of ancient Assyrians. Imagine standing in a quiet exhibition hall, tracing inscriptions with your eyes, and sensing the soft continuity of human effort and imagination across time. The empire's influence is also evident in ideas of governance, military organization, and culture. Roads, administrative systems, and urban planning developed in Assyria informed later civilizations. Artistic motifs, literature, and religious concepts inspired surrounding regions. Even the natural world, the rivers, plains, and hills, remained intertwined with human activity, guiding settlement, agriculture, and ritual. Picture the gentle landscape of Mesopotamia, fields glimmering in soft sunlight, rivers flowing steadily, and ancient cities rising quietly in memory, a reminder of the connection between people and their environment. In reflecting on Assyria, one can appreciate the quiet interplay of human ambition and natural rhythms. Civilization flourishes not only through conquest or wealth but through observation, organization, and cultural continuity. The Assyrians provide an enduring example of how societies can grow, adapt, and leave lasting imprints upon the world, even when political structures fade. Imagine floating gently along the Tigris, feeling the water's steady flow, and sensing centuries of human creativity, care and resilience moving silently beneath the surface. The spiritual life of Assyria continues to echo across time. Worship of Ashur and other deities shaped not only politics but also daily ethics, art and learning. Temples served as centers for both devotion and administration, blending the sacred and the practical. Festivals and rituals created a sense of order, continuity, and reflection, punctuating the year with moments of contemplation and joy. Imagine observing a quiet temple ceremony, incense curling upward, soft chants filling the air, and the gentle glow of lamps casting shadows across intricate reliefs, evoking a timeless sense of reverence and calm. Even as the empire fell, the Assyrian people and culture endured. Knowledge, traditions, and artistic expression were carried forward by communities, scribes, and descendants. Their persistence reminds us that human creativity and cultural memory transcend political boundaries. Imagine families continuing rituals, scribes recording events, and artisans shaping clay and stone, each act a quiet bridge between past and present. Through these enduring threads, Assyria continues to speak, even as the empire itself has vanished. In this final chapter, we can let our thoughts drift across centuries, across rivers and plains, through bustling cities and quiet temples. Picture yourself walking along ancient streets at dusk, the soft glow of lamps illuminating walls adorned with reliefs, the gentle murmur of water flowing through canals, and the distant rustle of reeds in the evening breeze. Let the calm rhythm of daily life and the gentle whisper of history soothe your mind. The story of the Assyrian Empire, from its earliest settlements to its vast territorial expansions, its cultural achievements and its enduring legacy, reminds us of both the grandeur and the quiet persistence of human endeavor. Each king, soldier, scribe, artisan, farmer, and priest contributed to a civilization whose echoes continue to reach us today. Imagine the flow of time as a gentle river, carrying with it the stories, achievements, and reflections of countless lives, inviting you to rest in the calm continuity of human history. As you drift towards sleep, allow the images of Assyrian landscapes, cities, temples, and daily life to settle softly in your mind. Picture the Tigris and Euphrates glimmering under moonlight, the soft glow of lamps in quiet streets, and the peaceful murmur of life along riverbanks. The empire's story, vast yet intimate, can now merge with your own rhythms, creating a gentle passage into rest. In this final reflection, we recognize that while empires rise and fall, knowledge, creativity, and human connection endure. The Assyrian Empire, though ancient, offers a calm, timeless lesson, that civilization is built not only on power and conquest but on daily acts of care, organization, artistry, and devotion. Imagine letting your mind drift along these rivers of history, each thought a gentle ripple carrying you toward restful sleep. Let the soft cadence of this journey guide your breath, slow your thoughts, and carry you through the quiet landscape of ancient Mesopotamia. The streets, temples, rivers, and people of Assyria exist now in memory and reflection, a soothing presence accompanying you into dreams. Here, history and imagination merge, leaving a sense of calm, continuity, and connection with human endeavor across millennia. Rest now with the quiet image of Assyria, a civilization flowing gently like a river rich in life, learning, and devotion, whose legacy continues to whisper softly across time, guiding you into peaceful sleep. As we drift further into the quiet waters of history, we enter a chapter devoted to the lasting, timeless echoes of the Assyrian civilization. Though political power has long faded, the whispers of this ancient people linger in art, language, architecture, and culture. Picture the Tigris flowing steadily through fertile plains, carrying memories of cities that once hummed with life. The clatter of markets, the low murmur of temples, and the quiet rhythm of daily life. The light of early morning glimmers gently on mud brick walls, illuminating reliefs and carvings that have survived centuries, a soft testament to human ingenuity. The Assyrian Empire's most enduring echoes are found in its cultural and intellectual achievements. From the meticulous record-keeping of scribes to the intricate artistry of palace reliefs, every artifact speaks to centuries of careful observation and devotion. Imagine the soft clink of a stylus pressing into wet clay, the rhythmic motion of an artisan carving a lion's mane into stone, or the gentle brush of hands weaving textiles dyed with natural pigments. These quiet acts, repeated across generations, created patterns of creativity that endure far beyond the lifespan of kings or armies. Language and literature form another enduring bridge across time. Akkadian, written in cuneiform, preserves not only administrative records but also poetry, myth, and correspondence that illuminate the hearts and minds of ancient Assyrians. Imagine sitting in a quiet study, tracing the wedge-shaped symbols on a clay tablet, feeling the patient care of scribes who recorded thoughts, decisions, and dreams. These texts allow modern readers to glimpse a world both distant and intimate, where daily life and monumental events intertwine in gentle continuity. Artistic expression continues to resonate across millennia. Palace reliefs depict kings in ceremonial attire, soldiers in formation, and mythological creatures imbued with both power and grace. Winged bulls, lions, and composite figures stand as guardians of memory, their carved forms preserving cultural ideals and aesthetic sensibilities. Imagine walking slowly through a reconstructed palace, the soft echo of your footsteps blending with the imagined sounds of the past, the hushed conversation of courtiers, the quiet murmur of temple rituals, and the gentle rhythm of life moving steadily along streets and canals. The natural landscape, intimately connected to human endeavor, also carries Assyria's quiet legacy. Rivers shaped settlement patterns, plains nourished crops, and mountains provided timber, stone, and minerals. The interplay between environment and civilization reveals a delicate harmony, humans adapting to, observing, and sometimes shaping nature while remaining attentive to its rhythms. Imagine standing on a riverbank, feeling the steady flow of water beneath your hands, watching reeds sway gently in the breeze, and sensing the timeless continuity of life that guided farmers, herders, and artisans alike. Even in decline, the Assyrian influence persisted through cultural memory. Neighboring civilizations absorbed artistic, religious, and administrative practices, creating a continuum of knowledge and technique. The Babylonians, Persians, and others drew upon Assyrian models, ensuring that wisdom and experience were not lost but transformed. Picture a scholar in a distant city, reading tablets or examining artifacts, quietly adapting ideas first recorded centuries earlier along the Tigris, a soft chain of continuity linking past and present. The endurance of Assyrian memory also resides in spiritual practice. Temples and religious rituals, though transformed over time, left traces in symbolism, ceremonial timing, and ethical frameworks. The worship of Ashur, with its emphasis on divine guidance and civic responsibility, continues to echo in cultural consciousness, providing lessons on devotion, leadership, and communal harmony. Imagine a quiet temple courtyard at sunset, oil lamps glowing gently, incense curling lazily into the evening air, and the soft cadence of chants blending with the distant river, evoking a timeless sense of reverence and calm. Daily life, preserved in records and imagination, remains a source of meditation and reflection. Farmers, artisans, scribes, and families contributed to a living rhythm that endured through centuries. Imagine children playing beside irrigation channels, families sharing bread baked over clay ovens, and artisans patiently shaping clay and stone, all harmonizing with natural cycles of sunlight, water, and season. These rhythms, though ancient, remain familiar, resonating with modern senses and reminding us of continuity in human experience. The Assyrian military, once a defining feature of empire, also leaves subtle lessons. Armies were disciplined, organized, and strategically deployed, yet their effectiveness depended on careful planning, local knowledge, and adaptation to terrain and circumstance. Imagine soldiers walking quietly along riverbanks, checking bronze and iron weapons, maintaining formations, and moving with patience and attention, illustrating that strength is cultivated through preparation, discipline, and reflection rather than mere force. Assyria's architectural legacy continues to inspire. Palaces, temples, and city walls reflect both functional innovation and aesthetic vision. Roads, canals, and bridges facilitated movement and trade, demonstrating foresight and planning. Imagine wandering through a recreated Assyrian street, stone foundations underfoot, mud brick walls rising softly, and terraces adorned with reliefs depicting kings, gods, and daily life. The scene evokes calm continuity, a sense of order, and a gentle flow of human endeavor across space and time. Art and literature provide a bridge from imagination to education. Epic stories, legal codes, and administrative texts offer insight into both grand events and intimate moments. Imagine tracing the story of a king's campaign or a family's trade agreement on clay tablets, feeling the tactile connection between the present and the distant past. These traces of memory allow us to appreciate the enduring human desire to record, reflect, and communicate, a timeless whisper of thought and care. Even modern scholarship preserves the quiet echo of Assyria. Archaeologists, historians, and linguists labor patiently, uncovering layers of cities, cataloging artifacts, and deciphering inscriptions. Imagine a quiet excavation at Nineveh or Kalhu, brushes moving gently over stone and clay, notes taken with care, and the slow revelation of history emerging from dust and soil. Through these soft, deliberate actions, the Assyrian past is not only recovered but made present, guiding imagination, understanding, and contemplation. The empire's legacy also teaches gentle lessons about resilience and adaptation. Political power may fade, yet culture, knowledge, and human creativity endure. Communities maintain traditions, ideas evolve, and art and architecture inspire future generations. Imagine the ripple of influence extending through time, a motif carved in stone inspiring a later artist, a bureaucratic system informing governance centuries afterward, or a ceremonial ritual influencing neighboring traditions. Each echo is soft yet persistent, a testament to human continuity. Language, art, religion, and daily life converge in creating a profound sense of memory. The Assyrian story is not just about conquest or kingship. It is about the cumulative effort of countless individuals whose quiet work built an enduring civilization. Imagine the hum of a city at dawn, scribes pressing styluses into clay, artisans shaping pottery, farmers guiding plows, and families tending homes, all contributing to a collective legacy that continues to resonate even in the stillness of modern reflection. As we settle into this final meditation, allow the imagery of Assyria to flow gently through your mind. Picture rivers reflecting the soft light of sunrise, streets lined with mud brick buildings, temples glowing with lamplight, and fields alive with the quiet rhythm of labor and growth. Hear the faint murmur of voices, the rustle of reeds, and the soft movement of animals across plains and hills. Each detail merges into a harmonious vision, inviting calm, reflection, and restful contemplation. The enduring echoes of Assyria remind us that civilization is more than conquest or political dominance. It is a delicate balance of observation, organization, creativity, and devotion. Imagine floating along the Tigris, feeling the gentle rhythm of water beneath you, sensing centuries of human effort, imagination, and quiet wisdom flowing softly past. The empire, though ancient and no longer extant, exists in these layers of memory, culture, and reflection, inviting us to rest in calm understanding.